Break it down now.
Live from the SiriusXM studios at the beautiful Wynn Studios here on the Strip. That's the Hotel The Wynn, where the SiriusXM studios are. Swankiest studio, not only on the Strip, but pretty much anywhere I've ever seen. Gill Alexander, this is the fun one. The week between the championship games of the NFL and the Super Bowl itself. Next week, Rufus Peabody for the Super Bowl Megapod edition on Wednesday. But the week in between has been a tradition on this podcast for 15 years, the whole 15-year history of this podcast. It is the Vegas Lifestyle Show, the 15th annual Vegas Lifestyle Show, A Man's Guide to Sin City, which we titled a decade and a half ago, I should say. And the staple of that show every single year of this installment, Marc Meltzer. Meltzer like seltzer. You can see him on Twitter at MeltzVegas. Marc, what's happening, man, in studio?
Man, it's exciting to be here. I've never been in this studio. I've been at meals across the hall, down the hall, gambled here a little bit, but never been in the studio, and I've always been looking forward to it.
Dude, great to have you. And our other guest here on the show is remote, but he's about to pay tribute to you, by the way, because he also, not only is he the host of the Bettor Life podcast, not only is he the Megapod historian, but he comes as the Megapod historian today, not only as guest on the show, but with some Marc Meltzer facts, I believe. Tim Lawson, everybody, on the show for not the first time. You've been on the Megapod before, right, Tim?
It's true, Gill. Look, I made my debut in week 14 of 2018, so like just after legalization, but not enough to where everything was quite as far and wide as it is now. Gil, I don't know if you know this, but my appearance on the Megapod has been lauded as one of the worst guest appearances in Megapod history.
I don't think is it?
What's that?
I don't think that's a lauding, but yes, no. I get it. Yeah.
But I got a little too cute on trying to do like player prop angles and such, and it's almost hard to believe, Gil. Even in 2018, after legalization, midweek player props weren't available everywhere like they are now, right? And I tried to play the player prop angle. It didn't work. I admit that it was a poor showing. I've been waiting for my opportunity to redeem myself, so I'm excited to be here on the lifestyle appearance show. But the Marc Meltzer, the real star of the Vegas Lifestyle Show. So Gil, Brady Cannon and Joe Fortenbaugh, they both lead in a number of appearances, right? 18 and 19, respectively. But nobody other than Marc Meltzer has been on the NFL Megapod all 15 years of its existence. And look, there's no record to be there's no record or handicapping takes for me to make note of here. There's just one big note to make that no guest has ever been on all 15 years other than Marc Meltzer. And I love that you only know him as Meltzer like seltzer, because when I asked you, when I confirmed with you that it was going to be with Marc, your response was Meltzer like seltzer, as in let's not accidentally confuse Marks here. I want to make sure you know that I'm talking about Marc Meltzer.
The reason this comes up is because every time you're out with Marc and he spells his name, he gives his name to the person at the front door of the restaurant, he's like Meltzer. And then before they can even ask how it's spelled, he goes, Meltzer like seltzer. That's his thing.
That's no longer the case, though. The youths, the Gen Zs and millennials don't know what seltzer is.
They don't know what
sparkling
it is.
Water. And it's not Meltzer like sparkling water.
How do you even go on about your life now?
Wait, no, is it hard seltzer thing? Don't they drink hard seltzers though? Isn't hard seltzer the young person's alcoholic drink?
Oh, there you go.
It was a fad like Zima, except not nearly as good as Zima.
All right, so here's the deal. So I said Tim does the Bettor Life podcast, which by the way is his second iteration of it now. Tim.
Yes, that's right. I kind of put a neat little bow on the main feed, the original main feed, because I wasn't sure how much longer. I had a kid on the way. Professional life was changing, so I wanted to put a neat little bow on the original feed, give it its own place in my work, my life's work, and then I started a new feed, sort of as a let me just see how much longer I can keep this going. So Bettor Than Ever is sort of the tagline of the new feed. The Bettor Life, Bettor Than Ever, BTTOR. And I got about 15 episodes out last year, probably more than I expected to do. I do it as I can.
And what would you describe to people? Give a 30-second speech on what your podcast is.
Yeah, the Bettor Life, it speaks to gamblers or those in the gambling space about our life of gambling, with the life of a bettor. I recently had Marc on to talk about his experience at G2E, so it's like the life inside of casino gaming and sports betting.
There you go. Now, Marc has been writing for all kinds of publications through the year. The point of this podcast, by the way, maybe I should have started with this, for those who are unfamiliar, and we've done this for 15 years. So we were young when this started, and now we're not really old, just a little too old to be in the club, as Chris Rock used to say, right? You write for casinos.com primarily now or exclusively?
Primarily, and a couple others here and there come and go.
Okay. And so the whole point of this is if you and your buddies are planning a trip to Vegas, we didn't know the first year, how are we going to fill the week between championship games and the Super Bowl? And we just came up with this idea. And here we are all these years later, a decade and a half later. And so what we'll get to restaurants that we love here in Las Vegas for those of you who are planning a trip here, either with your loved one, your wife, your girlfriend, or with your buddies. We used to cover nightclubs. We're kind of old now for that. We used to, Ace used to tell us all kinds of sort of underbelly Vegas things to do. Yeah, we don't do that anymore either. But we'll talk about concerts, music available here. But we always start with kind of a negative note. It's not meant to be a negative note, but it's kind of become that, which is the price of coming to Vegas. If you wanted to come to Vegas for the Super Bowl or for March Madness, let me just start by asking you this, Marc. 15 years ago, do you remember what the answer to that question was?
I do not remember, but it was much more simple.
It was much more simple. And now what is the reality?
So now if you're on the Strip, you're going to pay for a seat unless you're a VIP status at one of the rewards programs with the casinos. Seats can be anywhere from $200 to $600 at Caesar's Palace. It really...
We're talking about the Super Bowl now?
Yeah, for the Super Bowl. Off the Strip, they're charging as well. Circa is charging, I think, $500 for one of the seats on the side of the sports book. If you want, and that comes with nothing. You're just paying to sit and watch the game in a great spot. Let's say that. Westgate is also charging off the Strip, but if you venture a little bit further, South Point has a great party. Sportsbook is smaller, so you may not get a seat there, but the party's free. The booze and food are really cheap. You could do that. You could do that downtown as well. So there's kind of a little bit for everybody. If you want something interesting and unique, there's options. I wrote about this for casinos.com this week. You can go like places like Top Golf, which ironically, you're paying for a bay of seats for you and your friends, and you're getting food and drink credit with that, but you have to pay extra for golf.
Right.
Which is kind of weird, but there's so many TVs in the venue that, you'll be able to watch the game, and it's an indoor-outdoor kind of fun, different Vegas-y thing. Go to House of Blues for a couple $100 and eat their food, where you would normally watch Carlos Santana. Joan Jett and the Blackhearts are doing a residency there this year. So it's a little bit different, and honestly, if you're going to do a party, why do the same thing you could do at home? If you're coming to Vegas, do something different and a little bit unique.
Yeah.
So you can either go to a sportsbook. You'll probably end up paying for most there, no matter where you are at this point. And even off the Strip restaurants has one for $200 for food and drink, but you're paying for 4 hours of that. You can also get those for under $100. It just really depends on what you want and where you go.
The Top Golf idea is an interesting one because it's only like a block off the Strip. So people who are here in town enjoying the Strip probably would be open to that. The South Point thing, again, and you're right about it, right? It's free if you can get a seat. But you said there's also other other rooms in addition to that where you can watch it during a party. But I don't think the average person from out of town thinks to themselves to go to the South Point. I really don't.
So one of the interesting things I noticed this year is that the Westgate, while you can reserve seats in a book and they have a pay party, you can also go to the International Theater and watch it there with a couple thousand people. It's free to enter, general admission, so you have to get there early to reserve to make sure you have a seat, but you're going to pay for, I think beers are $3 there, and you're at the Westgate, so you have proximity to the odds, and they have they'll bring out a ticket writer to the area, so you don't have to go down to the sports book if you want to make a bet. You don't have to open an app, download an app. funding app if you want.
This is, I mean,
which is a whole other issue.
We're so close to the sun on all this stuff, so I don't want to act like people know all this, because I think a lot of people out of town listening to this still don't know that the prices are what they are on these big events, Super Bowl and March Madness. 20 years ago, I can just remember it just being a free-for-all, right? None of this was monetized. I remember the first day when the Wynn charged for a football Sunday night game, right? And we were like, what?
Sorry, go ahead, Tim.
I was just say, Gill, you asked, do you remember what the answer to this question was 15 years ago? I actually do know what the answer was to this question 15 years ago. I didn't listen to all of them, but I did listen to the one back in 2011. And the answer was just get there early, right? There wasn't prices attached. There wasn't, but it was like, hey, like Caesars, right? You're like, oh, Caesars is a great sports book. There's a lot of seats. Just make sure you get there early because it'll be in high demand. None of this chatter about, how much it's going to cost from here to there. I think there were some food and beverage package options, but like the big advice from Mark and VR was just like, just make sure you get there early, because it's going to be in high demand.
That was also, thank you for that, Tim. That was also the case with pool parties, right? When we were younger, 15 years ago, if I was the first one down at the Hard Rock pool at the Lagoon and I put towels on chairs, those were my towels for the whole day. How hilarious does that sound now? It's ridiculous, right? So the times have changed. You sent me something, Mark, about March Madness the other day. The cheapest chair at Caesars for March Madness. Now, I assume this is half a day for the first or second day. I don't think it's full day.
Full day. That was full day. Yeah,
was $500.
But they are selling day parts as well for obviously half the price if you're paying for half the time. And it's not only Caesar's Palace. I looked at Harrah's. It's $350 for a seat at Harrah's Sportsbook.
Harrah's,
which
let's be honest, is not exactly a beautiful location
per day. And again, I looked at the Cosmo, which is one of the most popular on the Strip, and that's almost $400 with open bar and no food per day.
How much is it?
Almost $400.
It almost sounds cheap though for the full day of first day of second day March Madness. That's how our brains have shifted on this stuff.
Yeah, and you mentioned the money part of this thing, and I try to do a little math on it, a little back of the envelope math, and you're paying for $10 for a beer, maybe $15 for a mixed drink. You're going to pay at least $25 for lunch. So when you look at these parties as a 5-hour endeavor, you'll get 2 meals out of it and count however many beers or cocktails you can drink. Doesn't make it better, but at least you can do some of the math and see if a package is worth your time and money. And it's the same. I'm just dipping into March Madness. I'm right now, waist deep into the Super Bowl stuff to see what's available out there now. But I can't fathom paying for March Madness at this point anymore. It's just, I can't see how there's any value that you can find there. But again, you go to the less in demand places, like a South Point, like a Gold Coast, if you want, you'll be able to find free or cheap parties there. It's just like everything in Vegas. If you go to the dead center of where the tourists visit, it's most expensive. And as you fan out, you'll find cheaper experiences.
Yeah, I don't want to make this all negative at the top, but Tim, this will segue into you, which is this is a guy who goes by the Milk Gallon on Twitter. He says, for the Lifestyle Pod, if you haven't recorded already, he says, I work weekends at the Aria, he says. 6 to 5 blackjack, 3 to 2 is a $200 minimum. So 3 to 2 on blackjack, $200 minimum. That's it. Those are the low tables on 3 to 2. Otherwise, you're made to play 6-5.
Gross.
By the way, again, you only get paid $6 for every $5 on a blackjack. He says Posh Cheeseburger. That's a little burger spot at the Aria in the corner, and fries and milkshake. Cheeseburger, fries, and milkshake, $32. Zuma business dinner drinks, apps, sharing plates for a table, $400 per person. Circa AFC NFC title game seat, $315. Aria 12-ounce Coke can room fridge, $10. Aria room bag of gummy bears, $17. Killing the golden goose, he says. Wait, Mark wanted to jump in before we get to Tim. What do you say?
So Aria, they're the food hall on the second floor of the casino.
Yeah,
they do all you can eat and drink packages. Obviously, not everybody wants to go to a food court, but it's way cheaper than anything else at the property.
Todd Wishneb, our buddy, he said, "Oh, they don't want to give me an all-you-can-eat over there. I will crush that all day long." Tim, all that the milk gallon there was saying, though, this is just the new reality of Vegas, though, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, I mean, it is. There's a debate sort of going in my community of gamblers and Vegas goers of, is Vegas overpriced, right? And if you're someone who pays for all this stuff, yeah, it's overpriced. If you're someone who plays and is getting comped, it doesn't feel as overpriced, right? There's something about paying $30 for a cheeseburger that doesn't actually come out of your pocket, but only comes off of your, dining credit, that somehow softens the blow a little bit there. But to the point of, everything you just listed that Aria's charging, with everything Marc's talking about with how much it's costing. When Marc tweeted about how much it was going to cost for a March Madness chair, my response was, I've lost the bucket list item of going to Vegas for the Super Bowl or for March Madness. That idea has completely vacated my brain. I'll sit in my chair down here and give my toddler stickers to go get me beer from the fridge. You know what I mean? Like I can have a fine experience here at home and not deal with the crowds, the overpricing, stuff like that, and find other times of the year to go to Vegas and enjoy it. But I mean, I can definitely see if you're like, I'm on the East Coast, the 5-hour, plane ride, so it's a much bigger hurdle for me to get to Vegas in the first place. But yeah, I have lost that. Everybody has that bucket list item that they want to go to Vegas for, and those two big events have been taken off the list for me for those reasons.
Well, and that's it, right? The advent of legalization of sports betting in 2018 has, for sports bettors specifically, right, it has created other options elsewhere. That doesn't mean we're not going to get to the good stuff about Vegas that will try to lure people here as well, because Vegas is still got its great things. We'll get into some of these with restaurants and other stuff. But
while you're on, oh, sorry, go.
Go ahead.
I'll say while we're a little bit on the negative side, before we make that transition, I think what's looking at the 15 years of the lifestyle, the Vegas lifestyle show, I think I bring a unique perspective as someone who's familiar with Vegas, who goes to Vegas, right, rather than someone who lives in Vegas, right? And something that, and you say it at least once a week, right? When Vegas gets sports betting, boy, it's going to take off. And Gill, it was just a couple years ago, I tried to open up a couple of accounts in Vegas, and I nearly smashed my phone in frustration with how hard it was. And I was like, I cannot believe that it is this difficult. And then to the point where I was at I think it was a Westgate, trying to get the Superbook app to work. And I tried to just bet it at the counter. And he's like, I'm sorry, but that bet's only available on the app. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, just let me make the bet right here. And he's like, it's only available on the app. I was like, I'm getting sick of the app anyway. So that is just one of those things where, as a Vegas goer, I'm actually prepared. Like I make sure the other accounts, quote unquote, other accounts are ready to go before I go to Vegas, because I don't want to deal with Vegas accounts.
I just got in my ear, I won't say his name, and he's like, Westgate does not want to help you. I'm so glad you brought this up, Tim, though, because this was the next thing I wanted to talk about. You're right, before we get to the good stuff, which is the biggest culture shock for sports bettors from out of Vegas that come in from out of town, from around the country. And I can just say this from all my friends who have done it over the last 5 years. They are just what Tim just described. They are shell-shocked by how much more difficult it is, every aspect of it. And I would actually argue, Tim, now it's even, you'd think it would improve at some point, right? But I would argue, based on what you just said also there, it's even more frustrating now because they seem to change their system of how they do things, deposit, withdrawal, everything in between, on a monthly basis, right? Yeah. Even they are not consistent. So if I go to MGM, right, let's say I just go up to the RA, which is the closest one to where I live on the Strip. 4 months ago, there was one set of rules. Now it's what you just described as the most frustrating, which is, oh, look, I did finally get the BetMGM app to work. It's much better than it used to be 2 years ago. Okay, look, there's all these tennis bets. I'm going to, you know what? I want to see the cash in my hand. I'm going to go up to the Aria. I'm going to bet these tennis bets, only to find out, right? Oh, you don't have all the tennis bets here, brick and mortar. You, for whatever reason, decided to keep some of the tennis bets on your app only, which makes no sense, right? Either you have them all or you don't have any of them. But to have only some and some makes no sense whatsoever. And the worst example, I'll give you the worst example, I've said this before, was the NBA draft last year when I wanted to bet this kid Reed Shepherd to go number 1. And this is one of the worst. But this represents bad gambling stories in Vegas. I went to MGM. It was like 50-1. Reed Shepherd to go number 1. He ends up going number 3, right? It's a bet that's unlikely to win, and it didn't win. But I go to MGM. They're like, oh, yeah, you can't bet this here at the desk. You have to bet it on the app. So you have to deposit money. Great. Here's my money. Then you get on the app, and they limit you to like the most minuscule amount of money possible. To which I said, if I had known that, I would have gone to Caesars across the street where they would have given me a bet. You've got to give me my money back. Now, I don't know if they just did it for me or if they were going to do it for everybody, but they actually gave me my money back after having discussions with upstairs. I don't know if that's because, Gil's going to talk about him on the show or something, but they don't usually allow you to do that. So you're duped into, it's available. And then you're duped into, you must deposit. Then it's duped because they limit you. Then you want your money back. You're angry. So then guess what happened? I had a worse experience across the street at Caesars. I go to Caesars. I'm like, okay, you won't believe what just happened to me at MGM. You can't wait to tell them, right? So then you're like, I want to bet Reed Shepherd number 1 pick in the draft. It's 50-1. Here's my money. Great. Boop, 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 boop. You see it change in front of you, 50-1 and 25-1, which should be legal, right? But you know what their deniability, their what's the expression?
Plausible
deniability. Thank you. Someone must have betted at another one of our properties right at that moment. Complete bullshit, right? Then you're angrier than you've ever been, right? Because you just had this one experience. So that's, by the way, that's a Vegas betting experience. It's not going to be that way on the Super Bowl because it's not as obscure a thing as the NBA draft, but these things happen here.
So 20 minutes into getting everybody depressed a little bit on Vegas, I will finish the frustrations in Vegas with my experience at an MGM sportsbook. I was at Luxor. I went to the MGM book. I was there for a big community meetup. So dozens of my friends are at the video poker bar playing video poker. I go to the MGM sportsbook to get some baseball bets down. I go up and make one bet for about $10. They give me 2 drink tickets, one per $500, right? Which already feels kind of outrageous.
Yes.
And then I go back to make another bet for $2. And they only give me 2 drink tickets because they have to cap me at 4. And I was like, my friends are playing quarter video poker and getting fed unlimited drinks. And you have to cap me at 4 for this. But that, in 20 minutes, we just sort of vented sort of the frustrations of Vegas, right? There's price gouging. There is the sports book or the sports betting experience is not what you would think it should be. But that said, Gill, and this is going to be my beautiful segue into what is everybody's favorite episode of the year, is there's still no city like it, right? I've been to Biloxi, I've been to Blackhawk, I've been to Atlantic City, I've been to a number of these little gambling hubs around the country. And as much as I love those places, I still yearn for Vegas. And there is still, Gill, I know you probably don't get this now that you live there, but as a visitor, that descent into Vegas is still unmatched. That level of anticipation, that excitement, I don't get it anywhere else. Vegas is, you still can't find the excitement of Vegas anywhere else in the country.
That level of turbulence when you descend on Vegas, there's nothing like it. I agree. No, thank God you're hosting this podcast so we get to the good stuff already, because I am with you. It's time to talk about the good stuff, because I just want to say the last thing about Milk Allen, though, when he says they've killed the golden goose, and we'll wrap this up, is what he means is, right, Vegas was founded on this principle that the gambling experience is where they would make their money, that they wouldn't gouge you on everything else, right? That the rest of it, food, entertainment, was going to be the cheapest thing in the world because they knew they would get your money in the casino. And now it's corporate entities who own these massive casinos. Yeah. They don't view the economics of it that way.
But it's been this way for 25 years. It's been this way since I started visiting Vegas, where I could not afford to stay on the Strip, but I could afford to stay at Gold Coast. It's the same thing. It's just different money.
I know you take this position. It's way worse the last 3 years. And we see it by who's coming into town. We see it on the Strip. I know you had numbers that suggested otherwise. I remember when you quoted these. I don't know, man. My eyes tell me, and I think everybody else sort of says, remember that whole period last year where like nobody was in town for a while?
But this tweet that you're reading, he's referencing luxury properties. He's not referencing anything of value. And that's the difference. It's finding value. There's plenty of value to be found in Vegas. I used to I'll go back to my reference from whatever years ago.
My friends are too bougie is what you're saying. They're too bougie, my friends.
Yeah, but yes and no, but
yes.
I could not afford to stay on the Strip, but I would always go to the Strip for like one day and one night just to experience it. We'd have a great steak dinner. We'd go out to the club. We would drink a ton. We'd gamble more than we gambled off the Strip, but that was one night of 4. That's what we could afford. And then once we were able to afford the nicer things in life, when the Great Recession hit, I was able to upgrade to luxury. And that changed my life. And I was like, I can now afford Venetian, Wynn, and this is the stuff I want. And so I'll visit Vegas less and go to these nicer places because I need to save up money to afford having a $100 steak dinner instead of a $50 steak dinner. But that's the way my finances evolved as a human. And I think we're getting a little caught up in the luxury versus value because there's plenty of value. There's also a lot of overpricing. There's definitely overpricing.
This is why I'm glad you're here because you staunchly defend Vegas on a lot of this stuff. And
I don't know that I defend it, but I understand it.
You understand.
It's not defending them because honestly, screw all the corporations. Screw every corporation in the country. But, you got to find ways to work within it. And, there are plenty of things. I write for TravelZork is one of my long-term clients. That community finds value wherever they can. And, if that means staying in Rio because you have Hyatt points and you can get a free room there and free breakfast every day, and you can get 2 free meals at the Rio because you can now get 2 free breakfasts a day. So you have an early breakfast and a second breakfast that doubles as your lunch. You can save money. You can spend you can find ways to save money if you want.
Do they still have that Meshuggah zip wire at the top of the Rio?
No, that left with Caesars, but they do have an egg slot now, which is a couple dollars cheaper than the one at the Cosmo and no fucking lines.
We used to go, Ace and Marco and that crew. There was a restaurant at the top of the Rio. And I had no idea that this existed. And there's a zip line from one of the Rio buildings to the others, and these people would do it in the middle of the night. I'd be like, what in the world? This was like worse than the
nightmare fuel right there.
What's that? Oh, dude, Stratosphere stuff too. The Stratosphere rides all exist at the time still.
Yeah, still operating. I went to the new steakhouse there, by the way, from James Trees, who is owner of one of our favorite restaurants in Vegas, Esther's. And I had the most disappointing meal at that steakhouse because my hopes were so high from Esther's and they did not come close to Esther's.
Okay, let's talk about this. Tim, I'm sure you have a restaurant list too as well. Can I vomit out some first before you go? Is that allowed? Can I do that?
You can. Can I answer your question about whether or not you and your friends are bougie?
Yes.
You and I were trying to determine meal plans the one time when I was in Vegas, and I was like, all right, we can either do Diablos at Luxor or Mother Wolf at Fontainebleau, and you're like, let's do Mother Wolf. That's a little more my style.
Well,
we're not going to the Luxor.
Yeah,
stop that shit.
I don't even think that's fancy or bougie. Yeah. I think that's just good.
That's just health considerations. All right, Strip. Let's break these down into a few categories. Strip properties. Okay, I will always start with Carbone at Aria. It is not everybody's jam, but to me, it is still my home games. I've been there hundreds of times. To me, it is the best atmosphere of any restaurant in all of Las Vegas. It is Motown until 10 p.m. It is hip-hop afterwards. It is the best food you will have. It is pricey. Price is no object on these Strip recommendations, by the way. This is for the bougie crowd on my end. I still start with Carbone. I have not been to the new Carbone yet at Bellagio, Carbone Riviera, which is a more seafoody version. Have you?
I have not. I don't eat seafood. I'm allergic to half of it, and the other half I don't like.
That's right. How can you not like it? All right. The Wynn, where we are here, let's give a shout out to the Wynn. They have 2 of, again, this is the price is no object category. Delilah's, to me, is still the best speakeasy. Do we call it a speakeasy or do we just call it a transport?
It's a dinner club.
Dinner
club.
Supper club. Thank you. A supper club.
There we go.
Transported into the 1920s. Did we have this debate also? I think it's the 1920s.
It's the Roaring 20s.
It's the Roaring 20s. That's what I thought. Someone argued with me on this. It is like you're transported into that world. but you have to get a seat inside. If they try to ship you off to the seats outside, know that you are a second-class citizen and they think nothing of you. That's the main thing. But it is a phenomenal experience if you can sit inside. You won't be able to hear the person next to you. The food is good, very good, not great, but the atmosphere is great. Next to it is Wing Lei? Is that the name of the place?
Mm-hmm.
Crazy Duck. But again, these are the high-end stuff. You mentioned Mother Wolf at Fountain Blue. Outstanding Italian food. Tim, you and I went to Mother Wolf. That was great. Stubborn Seed. Resorts World has a bunch of places that are kind of empty that I worry if they're going to continue. But one of those places is Stubborn Seed, where they have this like truffle organic chicken, which may not sound great, but it's fantastic. So I would recommend that on the Strip as well. And then there's a little spot. People in LA know this place. People in LA are not that high on it, but on that walkway between Crystal's Mall and Cosmo, so in between Cosmo and the Aria, they have an Ocean Prime there. Have you eaten there before?
Have not.
It is spectacular. It like a hidden thing that no one really thinks about. In LA, people are like, whatever, Ocean Prime. The one in Vegas is outstanding, and it's very accessible by where people stay.
And they have a good happy hour.
And they had a great, and they also, you can get 20% off if you have the in-kind app also. So there's like a hack to it as well. I mentioned I hadn't been to the new Carbone, haven't been to the new Korean steakhouse at the Venetian Cote, which is, they got a DJ in there. It's like a Michelin star chef, Korean barbecue. It's phenomenal, apparently. I haven't been there yet. And then there's a new sushi place at the Venetian called Nomakai, which is supposed to be good. I have not. But before I give it to you, Tim, can I give you the finest sushi? I'll give you my 2 and 3 sushi. I'm gatekeeping number 1, as always. Third best, price no object, Kabuto, Kabuto, if you're a sushi snob like I am. And number 2, which is more out in Summerlin, so I don't know how much excitement people have, but Sen of Japan is fantastic in Summerlin. Tim, what is your go-to when you come into town?
So I have very much become a creature of habit in Vegas. Like my schedule, my routine looks very similar sort of throughout the and so I don't get to a lot of maybe try one new restaurant each trip. Otherwise, I'm going to a lot of my favorites. But places, are we doing just the Strip here, or are we touching downtown?
Oh, downtown too, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yardbird at I love Yardbird. I've been there once or twice. I think twice now. And
lifestyle podcast staple for over the years.
Yep. Yeah. And let me tell you, I have received some of the, I think that I had a server there that may have been the best server I have ever had in Las Vegas. That's how good my experience. He was on point with everything. Really like Yardbird. Komodo.
People an idea. Fried chicken, waffles.
Yeah. Fried chicken and waffles. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Amazing short rib too.
Shrimp and grits. Come on.
I liked Mother Wolf.
For you.
Good for you. Yeah. I liked Mother Wolf. I think Komodo might be my favorite restaurant inside of Fountain Blue.
Wow.
I also liked China Club inside of Fountain Blue. If you're looking for a quick bite, I think that the tavern there, the sportsbook there, is fine too. A theme that my listeners know and yours will find out. I really like Fountain Blue as a property, and I think the food across the board is pretty good.
You think, Tim, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you think the Fountain Blue is like the modern day version of the Cosmo? In terms of clientele?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes, that one.
They're definitely going that route. They even hired a lot of former Cosmo employees, like, to get that thing. And I definitely see the similarities there. It's a place, it's the greatest restaurant mall, that happens to have a casino.
But I'm talking about the youngish quality.
Right. Yeah. That's what that's similar to the way the Cosmo was. Everybody focused on the bars and restaurants there before they switched CEOs who focused a little bit more on gaming and more mainstream stuff.
Who raised the price point of the restaurants. The new restaurants were more expensive.
Well, no, this is way years ago. This is like 10 years
Just
ago.
the Cosmo through the years, it used to be epicenter. And then as the years went on, you're like, oh, everybody's getting old in here.
Yeah, and now they're changing out restaurants again, and it's moving forward. And I agree with Tim. I really enjoy my time.
That's why Tim goes to the Fountain Blue every time.
That's why. I also going downtown. I really like 8 East and Saginaw's. They're in Circa.
Yes.
I haven't been to this location, but I want to give my friends a little bit of credit here. They swear by Pisces. Everybody who's been to Pisces says that they really like it over there at the Wynn. Yep.
Right. Everyone loves that place.
Great bar. Yeah.
I also enjoyed Carbone. I've only been there once with one Gill Alexander. I enjoyed Carbone. The Wynn buffet, I think deserves a little bit of credit here.
Agree.
People often talk about buffets separately than like restaurants. Like, okay, what are your favorite restaurants now? What are your favorite buffets? But I don't know why you just don't include Wynn buffet in the conversation of places you want to eat. I think it's a great spot.
The Wynn buffet, a slightly healthier, or at least it makes you feel like it's a slightly healthier version than the Caesar's Bacchanal buffet, which is the most famous buffet in town, I guess. Right.
Yes. If you want a nice...
Can I just add to some of your Saginaw's before you
please?
Saginaw's best matzo ball soup in town now. That Terrace Point Cafe here doesn't have it anymore. So Saginaw's gets the record for the best matzo ball soup. And 8 East, who's our buddy Vital Vegas, the brisket fried rice Vegas, Vital Vegas style.
Yeah.
Puts chicken in the fried rice.
Let's take a chicken skewers. Here's another 8 East thing. They'll actually put any protein that they prepare. They'll put any protein in the fried rice for you. I actually get the duck fried rice, and that is now my go-to duck fried rice at 8 East.
Listen to this guy, duck fried rice.
Talking about fancy.
Talking about playoffs. Wow.
But so one of the reasons why I've become a creature of habit in Vegas is because I stay largely where I play, and where I play gives me free play and dining credits. So then I go back to those locations then to eat. And we talk about the nickel and diming and everything like that. And for as much of a sticker shock that Circa brought to downtown, there's no arguing that Derek Stevens and that organization has done it properly in the way they take care of players, right? I am still getting decent offers off of one big day of play that I had like 18 months ago. I can still go to Circa, play a modest amount, and get my free play, my dining credits, so you can, if you know where you like to eat, if you know where you like to indulge and stuff like that, find the right way to put in play that's not beyond your means, of course. And there's a good chance that you can at least enjoy the gamble that you have in you, and also get a little bit of that back inside of the either a hotel or the food and dining at the property.
And also to that point, as prices are rising and people don't want to pay crazy prices to experiment on a meal, you want to spend, if you're going to spend a lot of money, you better get a great meal, and repeating your favorite places is one way to do that. And I definitely have done that over the past couple of years. I'm just like, there's nothing exciting opening that I really want to experiment with, or few restaurants opening that I want to experiment with. So why not just go to the staples, go to Carbone, go to Yardbird, go to some of the other ones that I love so much. I've been going to Ping Pang Pong,
baby,
and the Gold Coast forever, and I'm going there more now just because. Why not? Because I know it's going to always be good. It's going to be cheap, and it's going to cost for a meal with 5 of my friends. It'll cost the same as it's going to cost me alone to eat a Carbone.
I go to Ping Pang Pong on Christmas because they've fed my people now for 2,026 consecutive years.
They've fed me the past 2 Christmas Eves, which is leaned over into Christmas Day at home on the couch.
Ping Pang Pong, which is at the Gold Coast, right?
Yes, sir.
Pull pin on that thought, Tim, because I want to get back to you. I just want to mention these 2 restaurants before we move on from that. So you mentioned, Mark, Esther's downtown. For those who want to venture off the strip, the 2... I want to say these are the 2 staples for me in terms of value, affordable. Like if you're sick of paying money and you still want to eat well, Esther's downtown is spectacular Italian. I liked the old, smaller, more cozy ambiance better. Mark is waving me off, but if you're into that kind of thing, but now it's bigger, but it's still awesome, right? And the other one is, and this is where Chrissy Andrews, my mishpucha, and I, we always eat at whenever we get together, which is once every few months. Who runs the South Point Hotel Casino, is Nora's on Flamingo.
So good.
It is packed every night, super cheap, great food. Nora's on Flamingo, about 5 minutes off the strip to the west.
Yep, there's one that I discovered before I even moved here. That was highly recommended as a local spot, and It is not, unlike a lot, it has not gone downhill. It is
all.
steady,
Yes.
Eddie, always great, no matter when you go.
All right, Tim, this is the $1 million question here. So let's say someone's like, okay, I've heard all this. I like what Tim's talking about here. I want to come to Vegas and I want to do things the way Tim would do as recommended on the Bettor Life podcast, which is to say he's starting from scratch or she's starting from scratch. And she's like, what casino rewards program is the one that I should focus on if I'm someone who wants to stay on the strip? What's the one that gets me the most bang for my buck in the shortest amount of time, or really just long term is the best one to go to? What would you say?
Yeah, well, my first advice would be to look to your locals, right? So if you have a local casino that has a rewards program that is then also represented in Vegas, there's a good chance that you're going to be able to earn status and points locally and then take advantage of it in Vegas, right? So my local is MGM National Harbor. I play there plenty. I almost give MGM properties very little play when I'm in Vegas, but I can always get a free room in Vegas because of that play that I have at the MGM property here, right? So I would start with a local property that then feeds into a Vegas property. Caesars, if you're more of a low roller, if you're looking to just play a little bit and get the most and at least get free rooms out of that play, Caesars properties, if you walk in and just kind of spell the word gamble for someone there, they might give you a free room. Like, it seems like it's that easy to, I don't know whether that was the analogy, but if you could put very little play in my experience at a Caesars property and still get a free room, maybe some free play when you go into Caesars. MGM, of course, they're going to have nicer properties. You probably have to put maybe a little bit more into to get some of those rewards. But I think that they offer, when you get further up into, like, if you get the gold and platinum, I think what you're getting and the benefits there, I think, are more valuable, especially when it comes to not paying resort fees for comped rooms, stuff like that. But I think something that's misunderstood, Gil, by a lot of recreational gamblers, some people either new to Vegas or just maybe don't understand the casino world. Your status in a rewards program isn't what's going to deem the offers that you get from marketing. It's going to be your play, right? So if you have the base status, right? This is just a wild. If you have base status, but you play a bunch, right? Your offers from the casino are going to be better than someone who has the third tier through status matching or whatever, however they got that tier, but don't play a lot, right? The casino marketing offers are directly connected to the play in which you get the property, right? So the best advice I can really give anybody is, if you know where you want to be in Vegas and you are a gambler. Now, sports betting, don't even think, like, you're not going to get anything.
That disclaimer needs to be made because some people don't know that.
Yeah, you're not gonna get much, or if anything, out of your sports betting play anywhere. But if you like playing machines, even if you like playing tables, right? Play where you want to stay, play where you want to get more out of that property, and it's sort of it'll sort of grow, right? I mean, like, look, when I brought my wife to Las Vegas in 2018, shortly after our I think a year after we got married, we stayed at, like, the Link, right? And we went to, like, hash a go-go, right? These are the places that I could get comped, and these are, look, there's nothing, but these are the places. But, like, I just told my wife recently, I was like, I want to bring you back to Vegas because, like, it's a night and day difference on what I do now. And I didn't really do much more. Yeah, I have a little more disposable income, but I didn't really do much more other than focused play at the properties that I want to be at and learning how to best exercise the benefits that the casino offers. I would say if you have
along those lines, along those lines, let me just interject. Do you want to talk about the end of month, beginning of month thing?
Oh yeah. So if you have a place that's offering you free play on a monthly basis, and circa many places do this. Oftentimes, the redeeming period will be through the end of the month, and then it'll start again on the beginning of the month. So you can often straddle the last couple of days of a month with the first couple of days of the month, and kind of double dip your benefits. Places like Sahara are kind of onto that, to where, like, the 31st and the 1st aren't, like, included in there. So you maybe have to, like, extend it a little bit. Like, some places, yeah, some places do that, but like most places, the 31st and the 1st are redeeming, the end and beginning of redeeming periods, and you can double dip on your offers.
Sorry, did I interrupt some other stuff, Tim? I'm sorry. I just wanted to throw that in.
I'll just say, what you're going to get back from the casino is based on play, right? But as you do hit status, as you do get, certain tier levels, and they all do come with benefits. They come with free cruises. They come with trips to the Bahamas. They come with a number of things, right? It is important, in my opinion, to go to the website of, Fontainebleau or MGM or wherever you have status, and go look, see what tier you are, see what you're getting out of it. Look at the next tier, see what's getting out of that. There's a good chance that what's in the next tier, it doesn't matter to you. So don't worry about whether or not you get that status. Don't play for status if the next tier doesn't offer anything that you necessarily want.
That's good advice. My whole experience in Vegas, and this is just my experience, is having stuff taken away from me, right? So like a Veer, hey, you live at the Veer. Here, you're immediately MGM Platinum, and then they decided, yeah, we're not giving you Platinum anymore. You're back down to the bottom. Or Caesars, you get 4 drinks a day being Diamond. Well, I guess we're not giving you 4 drinks a day anymore, right? That kind of thing. That makes it even.
And that's what has a lot of the backlash going, is that there's so much being taken away, and then prices are rising. So why would you not be angry about that?
Yeah, well, had it.
It's human nature.
You're taking it from me. What right. That thing you said though, Tim, about like the trip to the Bahamas. That's a real thing at Caesars. Mm-hmm. And I always say this to Crack when Bill Krackenberger is on air with me. I always say that trip feels like something we'll look back on 3 years from now and not believe that they used to offer it. So at a certain status at Caesars, there is a trip to the Bahamas in there, and there's that you stay at the Atlantis or whatever it is, right? So there's still stuff, as you're saying, Tim. There is still stuff like that.
There is, and I think where I may counter you a little bit on that specific one is the trip to the Bahamas is to also go to a casino, and Atlantis wants that partnership to get you in their casino down there, right? Yeah. So I think that may be what holds that specific benefit, is the fact that it's a casino trying to get casino players into their casino, right? But like the cruise,
small price to pay, as I see it.
Yeah. Sure, but like Fontainebleau, I think has a great rewards program, right? You get achievement credits for dining and spa when you go up in status. Caesars and MGM have dining celebration in MGM, right? So I'm platinum in MGM. When you hit your 200,000 points in the year to get your platinum, you also get a $600 flight credit when you go into Vegas. You fly into Vegas, you show them like, hey, look, I actually paid for a flight out here, and they'll give you $600 in slot play, sort of as a thanks for being platinum. And here's there's a lot of benefits at different tiers. Like I said, know what's available to you, but when you look at the next level ahead of you and you're like, hey, none of that's really for me, you don't have to play to go get it. You're probably going to get just what you need out of your play anyways.
Oh, so yesterday I was having breakfast with somebody who went to Atlantis for a few days. He's going on a cruise, I believe, to Australia, maybe Asia, all on casino comps. He came to Vegas. He was here for a week to avoid the snow on the East Coast. He stayed at the Luxor because he could get comps there. Then he moved over to Rio because he had comps there. So there are ways these reward programs can reward you and will reward you. And like Tim said, if you focus where you're spending your money, and you're going to get the rewards at those places. One issue that I have had since moving to Vegas is that all my friends are in different properties. So I can no longer focus like I used to,
right?
Where I would get free everything I wanted from Caesars back in the day because I spent all my money with them. Now it's just sprinkled here, there, and everywhere because that's where everyone's staying. And that's not really good for rewards programs. But like Tim said, focusing and paying attention to those things. There's great communities online where you can learn tips and tricks on how to get comps, how to get, free rooms at MGM. If you don't live in Las Vegas, you can use their My Vegas app to get free rooms and discounts and cash back or half off or BOGOs or what have you. There's tons of ways to find these things. Las Vegas Advisor, who we talk about, Anthony Curtis all the time, one of the great deal seekers out there.
Yeah.
And he can help his website and membership book. That helps as well with little itty bitty things as well. So there's plenty of things you can do, and Tim is on point with everything he said.
Yeah, Steve Fezzik is a great resource. That guy, if he goes a day without the 4 drinks, then it's a bad day for, right? Like, he knows how to hack every little aspect of it.
He's also the reason those things will go away, but that's a whole other issue.
It's also that. That's right. One day if they're all blame Fezzik. That's right. What was I going to say? Oh, no, I forgot what I was going to say about that. Oh, back to the Fontainebleau thing for a second while I think of the other. We killed the Fontainebleau. I think probably Fontainebleau, by the way, is how it's pronounced. Fontainebleau. Fontainebleau. We killed it when it first came into town, right? The Miami Beach staple Fontainebleau is this like institution. When they came into Vegas, they kind of did everything wrong to begin with. But it is really, am I correct that it's kind of turned the corner then, Tim, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see Fontainebleau in its first year, but I heard all of those criticisms. I was compared, like, people like, it's just a miss. It's not getting this right. And then I probably visited the property on the cusp of its turning point, because I only went in, I think I visited the pool, I played a little bit of the machines, and I left. And then they gave me a good offer to come back. So I went back, I played a little bit more. And now on the, the food, no restaurant has been a miss for me yet. I haven't been to all of them yet, but I have not been to a restaurant that I have not enjoyed at Fontainebleau. It's pleasant to view not only is it pleasant to view sort of the quote unquote the young people walk by, but the people just like dress nice, right? Like it's a nice, environment to be in. I think the property looks beautiful. I get some of the best service that I've had there. Everybody's nice. If anybody's been on the casino floor, I've been there a couple dozen times. I get turned around every time on that casino floor. I always have to ask which way to go somewhere, and someone's very nice to point where to go. Yeah. But like people are very nice. The rooms are fantastic, and I think the rewards program. I think their marketing to players is good, and 2, their rewards program is also very good. So Fontainebleau, right, for me right now is it will be my go-to until they prove otherwise.
Well, for the bougie crowd, and I'm not just saying this because we're in a studio in the building. For the bougie crowd, there is still nothing like the Wynn in the Encore.
Nothing like the Wynn.
Resorts World tried to be that. They never could quite get there. They're like, you feel like you're in a plane hangar when you're in Resorts World.
By the way,
property.
I heard you say that before I visited the property, and I couldn't unsee it. The whole time I was there, I couldn't unsee the airplane hangar thing. Yeah,
totally. I just think it's and by the way, if we didn't emphasize it, sportsbooks wise, the Wynn has a beautiful sportsbook. It's like Times Square in there. But Circa is the gold standard, right? Circa, the biggest sports book in the world. Also Stadium Swim, where you could watch games outside. So in case we didn't mention that, it's kind of a short list now. Cosmo's still nice screens, I would say, but it's a smallish sports book, so it tends to get crowded.
Sahara
Pool, you swear by the Sahara Pool. They don't have a book out there, though, do they?
No book, but the Sahara Pool is a Stadium Swim light. They have screens out there. It's not a bad pool. I think it's affordable. I know some professional bettors that also agree with me that like Sahara is like a Stadium Swim light, that it's a good spot.
And that's also a good Super Bowl option because it's free to enter. You just have to pay for your stuff. Yeah, so you can watch the game out by mini Stadium Swim. You might call it, but it's a great value. Sahara is actually a really good value property if you don't mind being sort of isolated in that area.
So that's the thing with the Strip, right? Because we sort of allude to this. Circa is downtown. I know my buddies. You and I have talked about this, Mark. For those of us from the East Coast, my buddies would I would say, go to Circa once. I don't know that they loved it, right? They're like, oh, this is so great, it's awesome. We're just going to go back to the Strip the next time. That's just how that mentality is. Yeah. But the Strip itself, for people, in people's minds, it's Mandalay Bay is the south part of the Strip. That's the south point of the Strip. South Point itself is not the Strip, right? It's 2 miles or 5 miles, whatever it is, down the Strip, right? So Mandalay Bay is the south point. And then the Wynn and Encore and Resorts World is kind of in people's minds the north point of it. But what you're talking about, Sahara and Fontainebleau, you just drive a little further for those, a little farther. And people don't really have them in mind location-wise. Does that make sense? Does this still check out?
Absolutely. And I think you're onto something. I think it's even now, the Strip, the popular Strip is more narrow. It probably starts at MGM Grand for a lot of people and ends at Wynn, to what you're saying. And then the three southern properties, Mandalay Bay, Excalibur, and Luxor, are just sort of on their own little island at this point until the baseball stadium gets built and opens, rather, that's being built now. That's just sort of isolated. And you look at Fontainebleau, Circus, never forget the Seas. Sahara and the Strat are considered on the Strip, but they're really also on their own little island.
Yeah.
It really, because you have action happening, New York, Park MGM, MGM Grand, then you go over to Cosmo, Aria, Bellagio, that the center of the Strip is where people are clustering nowadays, it seems.
Yeah. By the way, what's the cheap taco place outside of the Wynn that's so Tacos Al Pastor? Is that the name of it?
El Gordo.
El Gordo. Oh my God, is that so good?
Fat tacos, man. Can't hate it.
Yeah.
That's right.
I know a lot of people that swear by that spot too.
Oh, Tacos El Gordo. First time I went with Jason Weingarten, and there's like a few locations around Las Vegas. It's fantastic. That baseball stadium you allude to, for those who are wondering, baseball still a few years away. Baseball here in Vegas, but it will be on the location if all goes well. Never know with the A's owners. If all goes well, it will be on the where the Trop used to be. Right.
Correct. And Bally's is released renderings. Bally's purchased the Tropicana before imploding it, and they have a quote unquote an idea of what might be built there, and we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
Because
so it's
essentially they're going to have retail in a hotel, casino, hotel, surrounding the stadium, but I'll believe that also when I see that happening.
Southeast corner of the Strip, which is Las Vegas Boulevard, and Tropicana. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what it ends up being. So, again, all the sports teams, if baseball does happen, the Athletics, or whatever they're called, I guess it'll still be the Athletics, will be there just a stone's throw away from T-Mobile, which is where where, of course, the Vegas Golden Knights play.
And Allegiant by the Raiders. It'll be sort of a sports triangle, is what they're trying to do.
The Raiders with Allegiant Stadium. Where do the Aces play at every game?
Mandalay Bay.
Mandalay, which is a stone's throw south, right? So all these professional sports teams, as Vegas became, see if you agree with this, Mark, because I know you'll disagree with me if I'm wrong. When we were like 20 years ago, it felt like this was a pool party town, like it was a day club town. And then I think it almost like segued into a convention. Maybe this is because we got older, but I don't think so. It felt like it was by design. The pool parties will still exist and all that, but like it used to be the biggest thing here, it felt like. Now it's a pro sports convention town in a way that it never was before.
Yes, and also it's a big event town. It's more so than that because it shows at the Sphere. People are visiting Vegas just to go see the Backstreet Boys. They're all wearing their white clothes, their white shirts, white pants, and they're going to those shows. And
is that a Backstreet Boys thing? White?
That's really? The outfit you have to wear to go to the shows.
I did not know.
But they're going, whether it's Kenny Chesney, who keeps adding shows, the Eagles. People are loving the Eagles show. I would only go if somebody gave me a pillow.
I went to the Eagles show. I'm not an Eagles fan. And just the visuals of the Sphere, as we segue here to musical things, the Sphere is that sphere that you see, right? Maybe if you watch the F1 race, you see it in the background. For those who have not been to Vegas in the last couple of years, it is this unbelievable facility. The Wizard of Oz is being shown there in a whole new way. Some of it good, some of it bad by reviews. But the visuals that you see for these concerts and anything that they have at the Sphere is the show, right? I almost felt at the Eagles concert, right? If you know Don Henley's ego for the Eagles, I almost felt like the first half of the Eagles concert was this amazing visual thing. And then like Don Henley said to them, enough of the visuals, they must focus on us for the rest of the show.
So I was doing research on something for this, and I want to get back to the events thing because I think it's important, but I was doing research and it costs about $1 or $2 million per song for the production.
Wow.
So it could be ego thing. It could also be, we want to keep this money in our pocket thing. As it relates to that. But going back to the events, so you've been to Raiders games, Raiders home games.
Singular, yeah.
The majority, okay, then I've been to more than you. How about that? Yeah. But more than half the fans that are going to those games are not from Vegas. They're visiting teams. I went to the Cowboys game this year. It felt like 90% Cowboys fans. But the concerts, when they have big shows there, like your boy Bruno Mars doing 2 shows there,
at Allegiant this year.
They're getting about 75% tourists are coming to Vegas just to see shows there. And when during one of Wynn's earnings calls a couple of years ago, and something they've been reiterating since, they want to have programming, major events as often as possible. So when you look at it, like even just a property like Wynn, they have car shows, they have master classes with chefs, just reasons for people to come to their property. So there are people are visiting now for major events on top of, just a regular vacation. They're building their annual trips around things. So whether it's going to see their favorite hockey team play the Knights, whether it's seeing traveling from Dallas to Vegas to see the football game, with the Cowboys, whether it's going to see a concert at either the Sphere or Allegiant Stadium, that's a reason more so than, like you said, with the pool clubs. They're still there, but they're not outside of Encore Beach,
it's not
here
a thing anymore.
It's not as much of a big deal, but they are crowded still.
Yeah.
But they're just not getting the same shine that they used to get.
Yeah, well, Hard Rock doesn't exist anymore, right? It's a Virgin now. But we should also mention that the big guitar for the new Hard Rock is being built.
Yeah.
It's halfway built now. Where the old Mirage used to be is where the new Hard Rock will be. Still a couple years away, I think, I believe. I'm not mistaken.
Massive.
The guitar is massive. It is and we knew this was coming. It is going to be the most iconic thing on the Strip now, that guitar.
It's amazing that it's being built as big as the renderings made it look.
Yes, I can't believe that.
I could not. I was shocked when I drove by it. Actually, driving here on Spring Mountain, I get to caught a little peek of it. I'm like, I still cannot believe how big it is, and it's still not done. But they're now testing the lights on the guitar. If you're curious, if you're passing by at night,
it's right at the Strip. The Strip goes dog leg right, south to north,
across from the Nation,
it's
next
right
to Treasure Island. You can see it from Harrah's, from Caesar's Palace.
Can't miss it.
I mean, you honestly can't miss it if you're just driving south on the Strip. Or north.
Every hotel on the Strip's going to need blackout curtains because nobody's going to be able to sleep. Between what's already there, the Sphere now, and then with this big guitar, blackout curtains everywhere because
get ready for the guitar view fees for your hotel rooms, not just a Strip fee.
That's right.
Anymore, because they are charging for a view of the Sphere. A few extra bucks.
That's because that's the narrow part of the guitar faces the Sphere, I believe. Am I right about that, or is it one side will face? It feels like this. Maybe I'm wrong about.
I'm speaking just in general of all the hotels. They're going to charge. If you can find an excuse to charge a fee, you're going to charge a fee.
By the way, real as an aside, because I got to run here in about 10 minutes. But as an aside, my theory about baseball. This is just me talking. It's nothing to do with anything. I think in Vegas, basketball will work here, right? If you're a fan of any team, you'll come into town to watch your team play in Vegas. It's obviously worked for hockey, where opposing fans come in. It obviously works for football, as you just mentioned. I do wonder about baseball. I do wonder if I just think, will a Washington Nationals fan who would come to see the Wizards play or the Redskins, the Commanders play, or the Caps play, would they come to see the Nats play a 4-game set in the middle of July?
They would go.
By the way, I switched leagues. Let's say whatever team in the American League.
I would imagine they would come and go to one game, but not all 4. So that's where the issue is going to be. It's which game can we afford? Because much like the other sports, they'll plan their vacation around. Hey, I'm going to Vegas. Why not go when my favorite team is playing there?
And I get it,
but you're not going to pay for tickets to 4 games, and that's
I kind of disagree. I disagree a little bit. Not a lot of bit, but a little bit. I have a colleague who's a diehard Baltimore Orioles fan. I can see him planning an entire trip to Vegas to see an entire Orioles series.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Okay.
And so is a lot of people who's a common fan? No, but I do think there's going to be enough people who are diehard fans that will want to go. They'll plan their 3-day Vegas trip to catch a 3-game series.
And by the way, the stadium is indoors. I don't want people to think that it's outdoors in the middle of July. But if you talk to like Arizona Diamondbacks fans, where sometimes it's even hotter than it is here by a little, but it's about similar, they'll be like, I don't even want to go to the parking lot to see the Diamondbacks play. Like, it's just that hot kind of thing. So I don't know. We'll see.
Especially daytime games, I can see like catching a daytime game and then you have your whole evening in Vegas. I can totally see that.
Bro, I will go to that. I live on the Strip. Are you kidding me? A daytime game? I'd love to go to that. But I just wonder if people will come from out of town. We'll see. Time will tell. You mentioned Allegiant. Bruno Mars is now going to play 2 shows at Allegiant. I have seen him. He is the gold standard, if I keep using that phrase, pardon me, of musical acts here in Vegas, of residencies. I've seen him at 5 different venues, 7 different shows over the years. This will be the 6th different venue. That's not a brag. That is just, if you've lived here long enough, you will find your way to a Bruno concert eventually. And once you go once, you'll be like, oh, gots to see this guy again. He's that amazing. He is the modern day Michael Jackson. So I think, he's doing the 2 stadium shows now. I don't know how much fun that's going to be, because the sound at Allegiant Stadium for concerts is criticized some. Besides Bruno, my favorite concert venue here in Las Vegas, and this is just me because I'm an R&B guy, the Palms, the Pearl Theater at the Palms. Babyface has a recurring residency there. Raphael Sadiq has a recurring residency there. It is like sneaky awesome shows at the Palms. I don't know if you've gone to any recently, Mark, at all.
No, but one of my favorite venues in Vegas is the Dolby Theater at Park MGM.
Oh yeah,
and what they do, I think that is great, is it holds about 3,300 people. Like Chris Stapleton's playing there next month, and he normally plays arenas. So you could see, you get that large show in a small venue. That's when things are exciting. My last concert there was a few years ago was for the Foo Fighters, and it was a great show until they did an encore with a keyboard solo, and I was like, I got to get out of here.
See, I would say my favorite part about living in Vegas has nothing to do with sportsbooks, because honestly, I could live somewhere else. It'd be better, right, in that regard. It's not about restaurants, though restaurants are great, and it's a plus. But it's the accessibility to great music. And I would be more likely to plan a trip around a great musical act that you want to go see, because unlike living in, say, San Francisco or DC, where I've lived before, right? If I'm in San Francisco and I want to go see these musical acts, I got to schlep down the 101 to go see them at Shoreline Amphitheater. Like, it's a whole hassle, right? Here, you fall out of bed, and what you will end up doing is go see acts that you wouldn't otherwise see in other cities, because you're like, it's so easy to go see Maroon 5 or the Doobie Brothers or the Who or whatever genre you like, right? That's the greatest thing about Vegas to me, is the music and the accessibility of the music.
And there's more of it than ever. And one of the things that started to bubble up last year is stand-up comedy, where Wynn specifically is having a ton of residents performers, like Sebastian Maniscalco is here. Ali Wong's going to be here next month. There's different comedians here in the Venetian almost multiple times a month. And so if you're into stand-up comedy, great place to see that as well. And I'm definitely seeing a lot more people visiting for that.
Yeah. Bill Burr's at the Cosmo a few times also.
Yep. Daniel Tosh at the Cosmo now.
Yeah.
That's like his home. Chelsea Handler's doing a residency there. Because it's just cheaper to put on the shows, because it's a person, a mic, and whatever stage setup they might have, which is very minimal. But it's something. It's an easy way to get people to come out here.
Tim, you see any music here lately?
No, in fact, I was just thinking the last concerts, I saw Maya at the pool at the Flamingo during my bachelor party like 8 years ago, and I saw Slaughterhouse at the Hard Rock back in 2012. Music, I agree with everything you're saying on music, Gil. Someone who doesn't go to music, I'm like, man, look at the plethora of music that's there. I just can't seem to pencil it into my agenda while I'm there. So
I understand. Yeah. You also have 2 little kids, so I get it, man.
Yeah, but it's 3 hours you're committing to not gambling, and that's not for everybody.
The problem. That's the problem, Mark. That's why I don't go.
Same thing. There's a lot more I can do in Vegas that does not involve standing around listening to a show I could see elsewhere.
If you can see a show at the Sphere, though, and by the way, the Sphere is accessible. If you stay at the Wynn or the Encore, it is accessible largely indoors, right, until the very end. So you actually don't ever have to go outdoors if you stay at these properties. I would almost.
So by the way, I went to see U2 there, and I hate U2 much like you feel about
the Eagles.
But it was a phenomenal show, and I cannot wait for them to book a good band,
dude. Me too.
But the videos, if you've seen from Fish,
we're like killing U2 and the Eagles. We're like, we can't wait till they have a good band.
I'm like, I want to see Tool there. That's my jams right there.
I would go to Tool at the Sphere. I would do that.
That would be the most amazing. But they're rumored that Metallica is going to be confirmed finally for residency they've been talking about for years. I might go see Blackpink there if that were to happen.
Bro, if Blackpink is there, how mayhemy will that be?
It won't happen because like BTS, they could probably sell out multiple nights at Allegiant Stadium.
This is, by the way, there's
A
gonna be
whole
whole section of this audience that has no idea what we're talking about. But if you know anything about K-pop or have been around girls of that age who love this stuff, your life becomes obsessed with it because their lives are obsessed with it. So, yeah, my Gracie loved K-pop. We went all over North America seeing Twice, Blackpink, 17, all these K-pop bands. If they do that at Sphere, oh man.
Yeah, they'll never have to do that because they don't need to spend $1 million per song on production.
Yeah,
in order to sell 20,000 seats.
When they get a good band in there, U2 and Eagles are like, what?
I mean, my musical tastes are a little bit different, but the shows there are absolutely phenomenal. Even who's the guy? Zach Brown Band.
People love Zach.
He's putting on a show there that is kind of mind blowing to me as a person who's not a fan. It's a story about his life that it's not going to be anywhere else.
Oh, wow.
But he has visuals like starting with the bad parts, the dark side, and then it brightens up as the show goes on. And, he clearly clears some of his issues that he's had over his life and starts to blossom as the person he is today. The story itself sounds phenomenal and strange at the same time. And that to me is intriguing.
Yeah. I hope this, besides the negative part at the beginning, I hope this ended up being a sort of love letter to Vegas after all these years.
I still rattle up, 25 restaurants that I haven't talked about.
Give us a few.
You sure? You ready?
Make them quick.
All right, we'll make it quick. So first of all, the most exciting restaurant I've been to that's new in the past year is called Rare Society by Durango Casino.
Oh, wow.
They serve giant plates of meat. In addition to individual steaks, you could have
plates of meat.
They serve, I can't remember what they're called, but they put 3 different steaks on a board and it's family style. So everything's sliced and diced for you and it costs less than a steak on the strip. So pretty phenomenal thing. But going back to Fontainebleau, Don's is still one of my favorite steakhouses on the strip.
Is that the one where they do the big commotion?
No,
when
we're not going to talk about that one today.
Right.
We're talking good because we got to go quick.
Yeah.
So Don's and Miami Slice in there. And like Tim said, the tavern, still a solid burger there, but they also did a pop-up earlier this year with a barbecue joint from Austin that came out here for NFR and way overpriced, but so damn good. I could not get over it. Other steakhouses, we mentioned Resorts World, Carver Steak, where you and I went when they first opened a couple of years ago. Still phenomenal. John George's, you can never forget John George's.
Short rib is great. Yep.
Short rib is great. The Strip is one of my favorites on the Strip.
I still swear by SW as a steakhouse. I still swear by Andiamo with the D.
And you can't forget Kelly Bidlin's favorite, Scotch 80 over at Palms.
He loves that place.
With that solid happy hour where you get discounted steaks. Bavette's over at Park MGM, one of my favorites for a steakhouse.
Yep. Phenomenal
burger, like appointment kind of burger.
Best bread in town.
Right. Andiamo downtown.
You're like, right.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm trying to move quick. Trying to go quick. Trying to get through everything. Ping, pang, pong. If you like 8 East at Circa, Latai is the original and it's better. It's more authentic.
Oh, wow.
It's less made for white people
and
more made for Asian people.
Mm-hmm.
Best Friend at Park MGM, Roy Choi's restaurant.
Spicy food.
So damn good. And it's affordable.
If you like spicy, that's your spot. That's your jam.
Sure. I don't, spice doesn't do anything to me. So
do it.
It's phenomenal. Carbone, of course, we mentioned. Yard, we talked about a bunch of, Miami Slice over at Fontainebleau. It's in the second level food court. It is one of the best slices of pizza I've had on the Strip in my life.
And this from a guy from the Bronx saying
That's right. I'm not a pizza guy, so take it for what it's worth. But the slice was so damn good, but it cost $10 for a slice of pizza. And as a guy that grew up in the Bronx, paying less than that, it's a little bit bothersome. You skipped one of our favorite breakfast spots.
Which?
The Overlook Grill at the Cosmopolitan by the pool.
Fantastic.
It is the best breakfast burrito still on the Strip.
Best guacamole.
There you go. You get the tableside guac. Yeah. That's not my jam.
Yeah.
Din Tai Fung over at Aria.
I have it all the time.
Hattie B's, still one of the best deals over at the Cosmopolitan Food Court.
Fried chicken.
So there's plenty. And you mentioned the Arts District. with Esther's. Great restaurant. But if you, like you said, if you're looking to save money, it's a great area. You can get plenty of places for $2, $3, $5 beers. Also, there's a bunch of breweries down there. So if you're a beer snob, great place for that. If you're a coffee snob, one of my favorite coffee shops in Vegas, Vesta, is down there.
Vesta.
Makers and Finders is a great place to get a cup of coffee. So much happening down in that part of town that's sort of in between the downtown that tourists know is Fremont Street and Stratosphere, where the strip theoretically ends.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a great spot. So,
all right. That's a good flourish to end this on.
And I got one more for you.
Yeah.
Giada. So,
how's Giada doing?
The Cromwell is changing. Do you know this?
Oh,
it's going to become Vanderpump.
Vanderpump. That's right.
And it looks like Giada's staying for the time being. That could change in the future. So
Giada never blew up to me, that restaurant. It never really became what it should have been, I don't think. I'm not sure how good
There's one good dish there and one good drink. The Bocatini is fantastic. Everything else is fairly mid. And the sangria there is delicious. But it's
fairly mid.
And it's $20 for a glass. So it's not like you're not going to get a discount there.
Tim, anything to add? Any restaurant we didn't mention?
The only restaurant that I was going to mention, I'm going to ask. I know people prefer on Diamos, but Barry's is still very good over at Circa.
Barry's is very. Yeah.
Can I get 90 seconds as the Megapod historian? Is that something I can do?
Sir. Absolutely. Thank you, by the way, Tim, for being the Megapod historian. What a job you did this year.
Well, you're welcome. I'm sure people may have noticed there was a couple episodes that I missed that there were no talking points. It's because being father of a newborn got the best of me, right? And I just couldn't get things together. There were times where thank you. But there's also probably a segment of your audience who's wondering, why is there this guy who's obsessing over the history of this podcast? Gill, I remember it was 2011. I was looking for a sports betting podcast, and I was living in Lima, Peru. I was a Marine stationed down there at the embassy. I was looking for a sports betting podcast. I stumbled across the Betting Dork with Gill Alexander. I remember sitting in my living room there in Lima, tweeting beating the book about baseball that was going on. I was listening to the Betting Dork. I listened to, I can remember sitting in my apartment in Sacramento a couple years later, listening to the Megapod as soon as it dropped. I could not wait for it to come out. I listened to the Megapod while walking through multiple cities across America. I've listened to the Megapod for 15 years. I've become friends with people that you have on the show. I look forward to not only hearing their expertise, but because I'm hearing people that have become friends of mine get featured on one of my favorite programs. And I think I speak for your audiences. This is undoubtedly one of my favorite programs through the year. I cannot wait to listen to it week to week. And no disrespect to anybody who like to Marco, VR, Parles. I think that the Will Hill, Todd Wishnev combination with this current format is the best that you've had in the 15 years. So bravo on continuing to make a great product that seems to only really get better over time.
Tim, you're the best, man. That touched my heart, man. Thank you so much. I didn't expect that to come. I really did. What are you?
I'm like, you got to stop at that. That's
I got to stop at that. Tim, really, thank you very much.
You're welcome,
too, as they say. That's very nice of you. And thank you for being the person that you have been all these years. And I do remember it. Lima, Peru. That's how we first connected on Twitter. And me and you on Twitter as well around the same time when you were the East Coast Gambler. Tim, thank you. Tim Lawson, everybody. The Bettor Life is the name of the podcast. Marc Meltzer like Seltzer at Meltz Vegas. Tim is at The Bettor Life. That's Bettor. Yes. Thank you for listening. Hope there's something there that gets you to want to come to Vegas. The 15th annual Vegas Lifestyle Podcast. Thanks for listening.